understand. I do know, because my flight was delayed getting back in last night, that it must have rained quite a bit around here because we're off the turf.
Well, I know we got some pretty heavy rain here yesterday afternoon, but I live 50 miles east of here.
Yeah,
I didn't have
that's
anything
true.
since then, and when I got the call we were off the turf, I said, hey, really, it must have rained a lot, but you can see puddles still hanging out here, and
there are puddles.
Must have got some pretty significant rain here, but I mean, also we got the Turf Festival coming up on Saturday, so we want to have that turf course as good as it can be for this weekend, no doubt about it.
So today's races originally scheduled for the turf will be run on dirt. Let's get right into the action here as we offer our selections and analysis of tonight's 7-race card. We've got a 8-race card coming up tomorrow. Then, as Rodney mentioned, the Dollar Day and the Turf Festival coming up on Saturday. So a big day there. First race, 3 scratches out of the first. The 3, Happy Boy Rocket, the 5, Mr. Nightblinger, and the 6, Soul Sacrifice. That leaves a group of older horses, $20,000 non-winners of 3 claimers to go a mile on the main track, which is currently being listed as fast. And, I was on I'm Crenshaw all along. I did not pick one of the horses in this race that scratched. You were mentioning a bunch of the scratches took out your top picks.
That's right. First 5 races, I scratched into my second pick on those 5 races. So this first one, I was going to go with Happy Boy Rocket. I thought this horse was going to run well tonight. If he could get out of the gate well, he would run well. But since he's not in it, we're going to go ahead and draw a line through that one. Mr. Nightblinger, the 5, also scratched. Well, that's because this horse won last week and no longer eligible for these conditions of the non-winners of 3 since he got that 3rd win. And then Soul Sacrifice, like you said. So with the short field that we have left of 4 horses, I think King Congo is going to take this one right here. If you look at the last 2 races for King Congo, it's only had 1 here in 2023, was beaten by 54.5 lengths. So, I mean, it was the first start back after something that happened last year here at Lone Star Park. So I'm going to scratch a line through that one, think if this horse has, by looking at the owner, Jeff Hooper, I would guess this horse has been probably getting some rehab at Hollander Training Center, something like that. So I would guess that Robertino Diodoro has this horse ready to go for the second start of the year after that layoff. I love horses making their second start. And if you look at how this horse has performed on a dirt track, I mean, 2 of the best races for King Congo both came on dirt tracks. So, you do have to look back to last year to find that win out here at Lone Star, but still was a winner out here on the course out of 8 tries. I mean, this horse is finishing the money in 5 of those 8. I think King Congo's got a lot going for him tonight with the scratch those others, but you said you were on I'm Crenshaw from the get-go, right?
Yeah, he's been facing some pretty nice horses. Number 1 Dude that beat him last time in a Oklahoma bred stakes race at Will Rogers is a 9-time winner, 9 for 21, has earned $449,000. 3rd place finisher in that race, Tommy Hawk, has won 7 races and $237,000. So for an Oklahoma bred race, that mile came up pretty strong. Now this horse, was 11, almost 12 lengths beaten in that race and ran 4th out of 6, but makes a significant drop today. Has run pretty well against Oklahoma breds. I'm going to give I'm Crenshaw the shot from the inside there, thinking that he's been facing better. One thing that's interesting, this race offers only win, place, exacta, and double wagering. No try, no super, no show wagering, but you, myself, and Rick all have 3 different top picks.
Out of 4 horses, that's crazy.
Out of 4, that's amazing. This was
that
originally...
Dave will take the other one.
Possibly, yeah.
So we'll all be spread out.
Whitaker would be the only horse that, had been, and that's a Broberg runner. So I'm going to go with I'm Crenshaw based on the recent company he's been keeping over at Will Rogers. Makes his Lone Star debut here. We'll see how he fares. Second race off the turf. It'll be a mile on the main track. $15,000 claimers. Scratch the 2 Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the 4 Bubba Bling, and the 9 Go Speed Racer Go. Still leaves a field of 8 here to go a mile.
Yeah, I'm taking Color Fast. That's the number 3 here. This horse has been knocking on the door. Has been right up there in the last few races. A couple seconds and a 3rd in those last 3 races. Now the 2 most recent races, both on the turf. So on the grass today, on the dirt track today. But, this horse was a winner at the fairgrounds back in February. At 1 mile and 70, won that race by a neck over a next out winner as well. I think his horse could run fairly well tonight here on the dirt. The 11 Cliff Diver is another one that I have here, so my second choice. A whole bunch of turf for this horse. I really like this horse on the grass, but now that we're back on the dirt, I mean, it's going to have some work cut out for Cliff Diver coming from the outside, I believe. But we'll see what happens. I got a 3:11 here in the second.
Coming from the outside and a bit of speed inside of him as well. I originally had Cliff Diver second when it was a turf race, but when it came off the turf, I re-handicapped, and I still have him second. I moved a horse that wasn't even in my picks. I didn't even seriously consider when it was a turf race, but now he's my top pick, and that's the 6 Mau Mau. This horse's career record on dirt is pretty good. He's been first, second, or third in 11 of 22, with 6 wins on the dirt in his career on dry, fast dirt. He also has a win on a wet track. He's coming out of races with horses like Palatial Times and Implicator and Sonoman, who are nice, older, higher-level horses in my view. He knows this $15,000 level. He's competed at it before. In fact, back in February, he really manhandled a $15,000 beaten claiming field at the fairgrounds. So I'm going to take Mau Mau, a rarity for me. I didn't used to as radically re-handicap races once they switch surfaces, but they are different races once they come off their original surface. Curious to see if he gets any action now that it's off the turf. Third race, Texas Breds, non-winners of 2, $5,000 the price tag here. They're going a mile. Scratch the 1, Attila the Dun, which was all of our top picks initially, and that's the only scratch in this one, right?
That's the only one I've got.
Yeah.
So I landed on number 8, Flying Sexy here. This was my original second pick. I had Attila the Dun on top. Reason for that was, Attila the Dun and Flying Sexy ran together in the last race. I mean, Attila the Dun was able to win by 2, or beat Flying Sexy by 2. Didn't win the race, but now with the scratch of that horse, that makes me elevate Flying Sexy. This horse has had a couple in the money finishes right here at Lone Star Park. Has hit the board in 3 of 6 so far this year. I like that. I think his horse is moving well. Austin Gustafson, he always has his horses up there in the top 3. It seems like when I look at them. So I'll go ahead and take Flying Sexy here with the scratch of the 1. And then I got one that's kind of a shot on the morning line. That's number 4, Richard Texas Bling, as my second choice. This horse has been running at the $5,000 level quite a bit with some mixed success. I mean, a second last time out. If you look at the horses or the margins of victory from the horses that finished in front of Richard's Texas Bling, that's the race right there. You got one that runs off with it, and then Richard Texas Bling seems to come in second in front of all the rest. So we'll see if this horse can't get up at a pretty big shot tonight.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he takes to the stretch out here. I scratch into a long shot, and, normally I wouldn't pick a horse like this on top just because his recent form has shown a real lack of wins, but the 7, Victor Valentino, is who I had originally slotted second based on a pretty good, a decent fourth-place finish against open non-winners of 2 last time out. And you talk about last time out, it was just last Friday, so he was actually entered in that race and this race briefly at the same time because we take entries a week out. But Victor Valentino ran a decent race. He came up and threatened and then just kind of flattened out and was beaten about 2 lengths. But I really think that perhaps he can get that long-awaited second win. He's 1 for 20. Again, he's not a horse I would normally put on top, but the fact that he has done a little bit of running against open company might move him up a little here. And Flying Sexy is clearly one to beat. He's adding blinkers. But like a lot of these, they've been stuck on 1 win for a while, so we'll see how it fares. I may have just given you guys a win there by not picking Flying Sexy second in the first place, so in case there's a scratches into him, but took a chance. Fourth race. 5 furlongs on the main track now for this optional claimer. Scratch the 1, Let's Go Alamo. Also scratch the 9, 10, and 11 for various reasons. And so you had a You had a top pick scratched out of this race.
Yeah, you know what?
Too,
The top pick I was going to scratch was the 9 at 20-1 as well.
Hooves Your Daddy?
Yeah, Hooves Your Daddy.
Wow.
I had a lot of faith in that one. My second choice was Bruce Lee, scratched out of this race. So,
oh, yeah, and I didn't mention Bruce Lee as well. Yeah, and Bruce Lee was a horse I liked as well. Even when it came off the turf, I liked him.
So that put me into Bootsy's Galaxy, who,
you talk about a horse that ran recently.
Yeah, right.
That's in your program, right?
17 June,
yeah.
So
it ran on Saturday.
I have no problem with it. I mean, the horse was a winner, showed a lot of fight in that race up there toward the front, battling it out most of the way around the racetrack. Won that race. I mean, if you look at how this horse has done at Lone Star Park over his career 5 times, has never been out of the exacta. 1 win, 4 second-place finishes. I liked Bootsy's Galaxy in this spot, too. I just like the other ones a little bit better. So scratch it into the 6 doesn't make me feel bad at all. I think that Bootsy's Galaxy is going to get up and take this. Like I said, this horse is going to be out in front, have a lot of speed. I think that could lead it gate to wire and get a winner home for Rudy Guerra and Carl Broberg here in the 4th.
He's ultra sharp, and I liked him the other day. I picked him on Saturday. I know horses wheel back and win, again, and he seems like the one to beat now. I mean, his Dirt Figs seem to be the best of anybody in here by a pretty wide margin, and he is coming off a strong race. I mean, it was the narrowest of margins that he won, but he and Good Scout still ran really nice races. I'm going to go with Stayed In for half, though. Might have preferred this guy a little more if they had run on the turf. His best effort seemed to be on the turf, not the dirt. And I know he's a non-winner of 3. Bootsy's Galaxy's won 9 races. Bootsy seems like the one to beat, and I think, you can kind of toss the morning line now with all these scratches and all that. But Bootsy's Galaxy will be a really short price. But I scratch into Stayed In for half, so that's the way it goes. On a night with a lot of scratches, sometimes we end up scratching in. We'll see if we have nice nights, even though we're scratching into a lot of original second picks. And we both like the 4 Mia Matoli in the 5th race, and she's out too, even though Mia Matoli did not want to load last time. Really did not want to load and may have left her race in the starting gate. And I was really looking forward to see how the Asmussen barn improved her, because you don't normally see Asmussens act up in 2 consecutive races. But nonetheless, maiden special weight fillies. These are 2-year-olds in the 5th. 5/8 of a mile. Take out the 4 Mia Matoli.
Yeah, and I love horses that have a race of experience in these 2-year-old races. I'm in a mine shaft. That's going to be my top choice here. This originally was my second choice behind Mia Matoli, but in that last race, Mia Matoli only beat in a mine shaft by like a quarter length. So in a mine shaft is going to be my top choice here. Danny Pish, he always sends out these good 2-year-olds. They always have a chance, it seems like. That one race under the belt for this horse, had to have gained some experience from that. If you look back, this horse fired a nice workout back on the 9th of June. So even after that last race, was back on the track working. Did it fairly well. I mean, was 1 out of 3 on the morning, so it was a light morning for workouts. But I think In a Mine Shaft can get the job done. The number 1 is going to be my second choice, also coming out of one race, has one race under her belt. Was a third in that last one. Was beaten by 7 lengths, but if you look at the comments, it closed well. So, I'll go ahead and give a benefit of the doubt to the chart caller and see if Guyspan, is that right? Guypan?
I was pronouncing the Gypsan. Kozan out of Gypsy. Yeah, well, Kozan out of Gypsy Gray. So, yeah.
I didn't get that far into it.
That's all right.
I'll take the 1 as my second choice here. So, both those horses with a start under their belt, 9-1. That's going to be how I see the exacta in the 5th.
Yeah, I see the exacta the same way. This was a real... I don't know, what would you say? It was a big split between the horses that I thought had a shot and the ones that would be surprises. And obviously Mia Matoli was one of those, so was In a Mine Shaft and Gypsan. I scratch into Gypsan now for Danny Pish. I think this will be a Pish exacta. Gypsan's race was okay. I mean, the winner ran well, Millie G. The second place finisher ran okay, was well clear of Gypsan, who was off, in my view, just a step slow, and then did rally. The thing that I didn't like about the race for the horse I picked is that Valdez Jimenez really had to use her hard, like the last 3/8 of a mile, and I just sometimes when they get used real hard and they're being asked that final 5/16 of a mile or so, it kind of means that he was asking for everything they had and they didn't have a whole lot more to give. We'll see if she improves off that. I think she might. In a mine shaft, it's kind of the same situation. Emily's Bullet I liked because I picked her that day on May 20th. So that race, she could definitely improve off that. But I really see it as a two-filly race between those two. We'll see if it works out that way. Sixth race, Texas bred maiden special weights are going 6.5 furlongs. Scratch, number 4, Summer Help, out of this one.
Yeah, so I took the same horse that you did, Jim. First time starter.
I think this is the first time we have the same top pick tonight.
Yeah, Harper House, my pick. I mean, you can see the workout tab for this horse. A couple bullets dating back to the end of May. Had a decent workout on the 11th of June. Finished 2 of 11 in that morning. I mean, this horse has been up there toward the front of these workouts. So, I mean, if that translates to a race here, I think Harper's House gets the job done. Tis Bodie Boy, the 3. Excuse me. That's my second choice here. You know, this horse has gone off favored 4 times in a row, beaten all 4 of those times, of course, since it's a maiden race. Last time came really close, missed just by a head. So either this horse is going to graduate tonight or is going to run second again. Yeah. And I've got to pick to run second once again.
Yeah, that's where my money is. I don't think it's great for us as public handicappers to endorse horses that consistently get beaten at short prices. I mean, you know, somebody always seems to find a way to win. Now, he's going to find a field someday that he can win, if not at this level, and a slightly lower level. But if Harper House runs to his works, he should be good. He has 7 siblings that have made the races. They've all won races. None of them have been exceptional, and I think a couple of his sibs have only won 1 race, but he's had some multiple winners among the runners produced by the Damn Funny Tune. So if he runs it looks like he might be quick too. And in this field, if you get out there and lead it, I mean, Blingo certainly has a lot of early speed, but hasn't shown a lot of staying power. So Harper House should be forwardly placed. If he can sit just off of Blingo, he very well could win in this one. On to the 7th and final. Super high 5 carry over $1,688. This race off the turf, run at 5/8 of a mile on the main track, a maiden special weight event. All 3-year-olds in this one, written for 3 and up, but all 3-year-olds.
Yeah, so I ended up on number 9, Minister Maz. I wish this race would have been on the turf. I really would like this horse. But now that it's on the dirt, I mean, you got to look back at these other dirt races this horse has had. A couple at Zia Park. Best finish there was a 3rd. A couple up at Remington this last fall. Was well beaten in all those races. But it seems like Ray Ashford Jr., the trainer of this horse, he's had some fairly decent success out here in the horses that he has, and that I kind of think hard about and say, well, you know, I don't like this change or that change, seem to get up and pop me. I think Minister Maz being off the turf, maybe coming back to the dirt, might be a surprise for a lot of people. I would think that those odds would probably go up from 5-2.
I would think so, just since the one turf race, his buyer really leaped up.
Yeah.
So I would think you'd get better than 5-2.
I mean, I'd be happy we could see this horse at like 5-1, maybe. I mean,
possibly, yeah.
I would put a decent wager on that horse. But if you want to go a different way, I got Woody's Choice as my second selection. You know, this is a horse that was up in Hot Springs earlier this year. Had a fairly decent race up there for the $30,000 tag. Ran 3rd in that one. Most recent race came here to Lone Star Park. Was on the turf. 3rd in that one as well. So I'm going to go back to the dirt once again. We'll see if Woody's Choice. At least can't have a respectable finish here in the 7th race.
Yeah, I didn't use him only because I think this race is quite contentious, but he's got speed, and that can always be dangerous in these sorts of situations. He and Minister Maz come out of that race where Tungsten was a winner at 10-1 and kind of a surprise. I went with the first-time starter again from the Calhoun barn, so I'm hoping that the Calhoun barn has a hot, at least, end of the night, because I've got him with firsters in the last 2 races. Changing Times is my top pick. The workouts, maybe not quite as good as that horse in the previous race, but I think they might be enough to beat this field. And this is an Arkansas bred, and typically people tend to shy away from Arkansas breds on the turf because they don't get to run on it very much, and there isn't a lot of history. But now that this race is on the main track, I like him even a little bit more. His works are okay. I looked up the sire, Mo for the Money. He never ran on the turf. He was 3 for 7 for Steve Asmussen, but that was all dirt, so that might help a little bit. So we'll see. I mean, it's, this horse might be quick as well, show some workouts in the past that might be on the quick side. So I took him over Med Impact for Dick Capalucci that I think I liked Med Impact last time, and I picked him in that race, and he went off at 11-1, and he really had a bad start. Bumped, squeezed, broke out also. It was a terrible start, and he ran on halfway decently in that race with a bunch of these other contenders. So I couldn't quite muster up, the gumption to pick him on top, but I got him second. So let's see if Med Impact runs well tonight. I think that's it.
That's it. That's all 7 of them tonight.
7 of them tonight, 8 tomorrow, and then 11 on Saturday, and I think we go back to 10 on Sunday. But nonetheless, should be an interesting night. Don't forget we're off the turf, but we're on a fast main track. Conditions have come up pretty nice. This might be the pick night of the week temperature-wise.
We'll see how it turns out. It is still warm out here. I'm sweating quite a bit.
No, it is. Yeah, you're beating
a lot
up
better than
even
it
with
was.
no sun.
Better than it was last week and the week before that.
That's true.
So I think we're going to have a good weekend of racing here.
I count it a win any time that we don't get burned with the sun coming under the overhang. When we don't need the SPF 70, I think we're at an advantage. All right. Thanks a lot for looking in. First post coming up at 6:35 Central. Good luck with your selections on this Thursday.